Sequentum specializes in providing low-code automation, and this is in support of open source intelligence government missions that depend on web data pipelines, right? We distinguish between web scraping, which is writing a script, running it once, getting the data you want, and web data pipelines, which is reliable data sourced daily, every day, every month, every year that you need it, day in, day out, with consistency and reliability to support your data-driven mission. So Sequentum, let's see if I can get these slides working. Sequentum is actually a trusted government partner with over 20 government agencies internationally as customers. We have also completed the Vetted for Federal accelerator under Decode, which was quite useful. We did this after realizing, after doing no marketing whatsoever to government agencies, that we had over 20 large governments as customers. Some of the sample use cases that we've supported: security, defense, and law enforcement. Obviously, human trafficking is something that you can detect through online activity, communication, dissemination, coordination, drug, weapons, illicit goods, stolen goods, trafficking as well. Public health, top of mind these days with our seemingly never-ending pandemic. Any sort of virus outbreaks, emerging threats to the health landscape. These are things that you can also detect through monitoring information on the internet. Social media monitoring is obviously a big piece of this. You can use this to track narratives, for example, narratives that are promoting extremist content, recruitment of terrorists and bad actors. I think you all know the use cases pretty well. One case I wanted to call out is a EU federal police law enforcement agency became sort of the poster child for their internet investigation team, and using our software to collect publicly available open source intelligence on criminal activity online. They use this to protect their democracy and to protect, to protect from misinformation, and of course to combat terrorist recruitment and human trafficking, among other use cases. And they used our software to do that. And let me just, before I get into too many details about our platform, let me explain the problem. When you have a data-focused, data-centric government mission, right, you want to depend on this open source web data for your intelligence. What is this data? Let's think about it for a second. You're talking about text, documents, images, video, audio streams, anything that can be found on any website on the internet. These websites are always changing, and so is the technology that powers these websites. So how are you actually going to create reliable, stable, high quality web data pipelines to power your insights? Well, that's what we specialize in. We simplify it to such an extent by being context aware, adaptive, and accurate. We have a laser focus on quality monitoring and giving your teams the tools to respond if anything has happened in real time. So how does it work, right? You point and click, it's low code, right? You point and click to configure your agent. You go to this place, you collect this data, right? And then of course, there's all the AI enrichment to help power your intelligence programs. That could be sentiment scoring. Is this a positive comment? Is it a negative comment? It could be image analytics to pull out the content in images that are being posted. For example, if it's extremist content, what's actually in it? How do you know what's in it? We use AI services to do that. And we provide all the process automation through simple point and click interfaces to enable low-skilled staff to get this done efficiently and reliably. And then, of course, the monitoring. This is the real secret sauce to having a successful OSINT government mission. You need that monitoring day in, day out. You need to know that the data that you're pulling in is just as good as it was an hour ago, a day ago, a year ago. And lastly, of course, the operation. It has to run, it has to scale, it has to have enough server resources, it can't go down. There needs to be resiliency. All of that DevOps automation needs to be automated, right? You don't want to increase your error landscape when it comes to just operating your data operation. And last but not least, there's the review, right? Continuous improvement, it's the name of the game, not just in releasing software, but in any data operation. We have reporting interfaces that make it extremely clear how everything is running. We track KPIs, and again, we have monitoring and alerts built in if anything is not adding up the way that it should. So you guys are probably very familiar with the chief data scientist of the United States, the former DJ Patil, luminary in our space. He makes the point that 80% of the work in any large data project really comes down to getting that clean data. Your analytics are only as good as the data, and they're going to depend on that data being clean. So you need a very structured, clean process for acquiring and structuring that data. The second thing that's happening in the data industry in this year in particular is this move from being focused on statistical models, which are the very sexy part of data-driven missions, right? It's very exciting to pull out this intelligence, but actually the models are the least of it. Again, it's back to being data-centric. So luminaries in the space like Andrew Ng out of Stanford, he says, you guys, you got to move to being data-centric. Google, they talk about hidden technical debt in machine learning systems. These are the systems that are going to power your government missions. They say, you know, this little tiny box in the middle of the ML code is nothing compared to all of the large, complex, and difficult, and thankless, and not at all sexy components of actually getting the data to where it needs to be. They say now, you know, 6 years after DJ Patil made his famous quote, they say 50 to 70% of the time on any big data project is spent just acquiring and verifying the data. That's where Sequentum shines. Right? So if you want to achieve your OSINT government data mission, data-driven mission, you want to use Sequentum software to increase your productivity, reduce your risk, increase the speed to market, the speed to get those actionable insights, and of course, reducing the cost and risk. In short, the key benefits are it's easy to use, it's point and click, right? It's fast, there's templates, the robotic process automation is there to integrate any third-party AI services that you need to enrich and structure that data. It sets up within an hour, and all of your data operations are transparent. So all your stakeholders can see what's going well and what needs attention, and that drives confidence and trust in the insights that you're generating. Of course, you need to scale, and of course, you need security, and of course, you need that interoperability. Sequentum has all of that. Get in touch.